Hello class, this is going to be a quick review of how to draw angles and construct angles and polygons using protractors and rulers. So the first thing I'm going to want to do to create a 176-degree angle is I'm going to create a straight line, and that's going to represent part of my angle. And I'm also going to put a dot right here to represent my soon-to-be vertex. So I've created my straight line, I've created a dot right here to represent my vertex. I'm going to move my protractor over the crosshairs of my protractor over that vertex. I'm going to make sure that the protractor line is nice and lined up with the line I've just drawn. And I'm going to be looking for 176 degrees on my protractor. Now remember that we do have two sets of numbers, so you're going to want to be careful about which ones you're using. I'm going to be using the inside numbers because I'm going to be rotating counterclockwise. So I'm going to go from 0 to 10 all the way to 176, which is just about this point right here. And remember, if you're ever having trouble finding some pesky angle measures that aren't exactly counting by tens, each one of these little crosshairs right here represents 1 degree. So now that I've found 176 degrees on my protractor, and I've marked it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my protractor, and I'm going to create a nice straight line between these 2 points. I would advise you do this with a ruler. And now you'll see that I have an angle measure of 176 degrees. Next, we're going to be constructing an angle that's a little different because it's actually more than 180 degrees. We have a 225-degree angle. And so I'll have to construct this in a little bit of a different way. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is just draw a straight line, as I always do. And I'm going to put my vertex in the middle. And the reason I'm doing this is to represent to you guys that a straight angle, I know from here to here, that's going to represent 180 degrees. So I know that from this point to this point, that's 180 degrees. And eventually, I'm going to be rotating a little bit past this point. But before I can do that to represent 225, I need to find out how much more I'm going to have to rotate to get to that 225. So I need to find the difference of 225 and 180, and the way I'm going to do that is by subtracting. So 5 minus 0 is 5. I'll need to be doing a little bit of borrowing over here. 12 minus 8 is 4, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So I know on top of this 180 degrees, I'm going to have to rotate an extra 45 degrees using this protractor. So what you'll be doing is erasing this line over here. So I'm going to erase this first, and I'm going to move my line more towards that vertex. Now I'm going to be taking my protractor. And again, I know from this point to this point, that's 180 degrees. Now I'll have to rotate 45 more degrees in order to get to that point. So from 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 45 would be right there. So I'm going to put a little point between 50 and 40 to represent that 45 degrees. I'll move my protractor and create a straight line just like we did before. Now do remember, when you're drawing your angle, you're going to want it to go counterclockwise, and this angle measure is bigger than 180, so it will need to rotate more than that half circle. If you'd like, you can try this on your own if you really want some practice. You can pause the video right here, and in about 5 seconds, we'll do this together. All right, now that you've had some time to try this on your own, let's try it together. So your first step is going to be drawing a straight line and putting that vertex in the middle for now. I need to find the difference between 333 and 180. That way I know how much more to rotate. So I'm going to use subtraction. 3 minus 0 is 3. I'll do some borrowing over here. 13 minus 8 is 5. And 2 minus 1 is 1. So this is actually going to be a very big angle because I'm going to do a 180-degree rotation plus an extra 153 degrees. So for you guys, you would be erasing either one of these sides. Doesn't really matter. But from here, you do have to make sure that you're marking your angle at an extra 153 degrees. So I'm going to be rotating this direction, so I'm going to be starting from here, from 0, 10, 20, all the way to 153. So that's right about here. And from that point, I'll create my straight line from here to here. And now I'm going to show that the rotation goes just about there. And do remember, you're not measuring this tiny angle right here. It's a 330-degree angle. So we need to represent that with going all the way around clockwise like this. Now what we're going to be doing is drawing a couple triangles. And we have a couple specific parameters. So now you'll be using your ruler more often. So we're going to be drawing triangle ABC. That's 130 degrees. And I need to make sure that side length AB is 7 centimeters long. So the first thing I'm going to do is just create a straight line. I'm not going to name anything yet. I'm going to measure this out to be 130 degrees. So I'm going to leave I'll put a dot right here. And I'm going to have my vertex right there. My crosshairs match that. I'm going to go out to 130 degrees. So I'm counting from 0, 10, 20, all the way to 130, which is right about there. And then from here, I'm going to connect the dots. Now, I do need to be sure of how long each of the sides are. So the first thing I want to do is label each of these angles. So this is angle A, B, and C. And I need to make sure that length AB from here to here needs to be 7 centimeters. And I don't think right now it is. So right here, I'm going from 0 all the way to 7 centimeters. So I'll need to stretch this out just a little bit more. And this is a triangle. So I'm going to move this letter over here to represent that point. So I need to make sure that I draw a straight line from point C to point B. Remember, we have that inside angle. This is 130 degrees.